Welcome back to TechSpace, and in this video we're going to be going over C++ arrays. So creating an array is pretty easy. We're just going to go over the following steps, and we're going to create an array. Simple and easy. So we're going to use a float variable, and it's going to be called, let's use the actual word this time. So let's just use the TechSpace, and it's going to be array. But to do an array, what we're going to do, well, first of all, what an array is in programming or in C++ is it stores more than one value. So it's a variable that stores multiple variables. So again, I can have, instead of x and y sorted as separate variables and separate lines of code, I can have them both on one line of code using this type of notation. So these two brackets right here are going, the number inside of here, well, first of all, the brackets go right after the name of the variable, which turn it into an array, and you name how many, or you put the number of elements you want to be inside of that array. Next, we put equal sign and braces. Inside the braces, we separate the numbers of the array by a comma. So if I have two float variables, let's just say we have 20 and 30. We're going to separate them by a comma, and then we're going to again put the semicolon at the end of the line of code to signify that we are done with that line of code, and that's our array. So we have a float array called the TechSpace that has two elements. One of the elements is 20 and one of the elements is 30. Now what you're thinking is, how do I represent that value when I'm outputting it to a user, or I'm using it in something? How do I use it? The way you're going to use the arrays is the same way that you declare them almost. So we're going to type cout, and we're going to type the TechSpace, and in these braces, let's just try to put the number 2. So, and then we're going to put an inline, and then we're going to go ahead and run this. Now, what we're going to see is that we get some null value because there is actually nothing stored in 2. And now what I want to explain to you is that the number inside of here, when you're calling the variable or when you're calling the array, represents the spot that the element is in the array. So if there's two elements in the array when you declared it, there are two elements when you are calling it, but the first element is going to be noted by 0. So in programming, we usually start with 0 instead of starting with 1. So you're going to start with 0, and 20 is going to again be the element 0. So this is element 0 in the array, and element 1 would then be 30. So again, if we can go ahead and then call this array, or call one of the elements in the array, by typing in 0 inside of here, which would call the first element, or 1, which would call the second element. So I'm going to use 0 to call the first element, and we're going to go ahead and build and run this program. As you can see, we got 20, and again, we can try with the number 1 to show you that it will give you 30, and there you go. So that's how you create an array within C++. They're basically used to store more than, if you're using, say you have multiple variables of the same variable type, that's what you use an array for. So when you have multiple floats, when you have multiple strings, when you have multiple characters that you need to store, you can store them in an array to access them easier if need be, and if they are in the same function, which is something we'll go over later. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the rest of the videos in this playlist to stay connected and stay updated with the newest computer programming, computer science, computer help, everything you can think of, technology. I have tons of videos. Just go check them out on my channel. Other than that, again, I'll see you guys next time.